Hi friends, this is Ronald. This video will discuss about installation and configuration of DNS server. So as we discussed in the last videos, like what is primary DNS server, what is secondary DNS server, and what are the requirements you need for installing primary DNS server and secondary DNS server. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to install and configure the primary DNS server. Step 1. As earlier videos, we discussed about the steps. Step 1 is configure IP address. Let's do the first step now. So I'll be configuring the IP address. The example which I mentioned in the last video, 192.168.100.1, right? Then default gateway is not required now because we are not going to use a router. Then preferred DNS server means primary DNS server. So I have to mention the primary DNS server. Now we are planning to make the same system as a primary DNS server. That means the IP address should be the same system IP, which is 192.168.100.1. As of now, we do not have the secondary DNS server. That means no to configure the IP address now. After you install and configure the secondary DNS server, then you can configure the alternate DNS server IP address as a secondary DNS IP. And go to advanced here. In DNS, you have to configure domain name. So what's the domain name? We decided to give a domain name is tech.com. This you can give it now or later also you can do. Or you can do it after you configure DNS or install DNS. The name what you are going to give here, the same name you have to configure forward lookup zone. If you are confusing, then I will leave this option. We'll do it later. Not a problem for that. So I'm leaving it empty now in a blank place. So we'll be configuring it later. Once we install DNS and configure, we'll come back to this option. Advanced settings. I'll show you how to configure that option again. As of now, we are leaving it empty only. So step 1 is done. Let me check whether the IP is working or not. Before I install, let me confirm. Just go and ping with the IP address 100.1. Yes, reply is coming. That means it's working. Next thing. Now we are good to install DNS server. For anything, you have to go to server manager. Installing DNS, installing DSCP, anything. So the shortcut which I open now, this is the shortcut server manager tool, or else you can go to start. Start menu you can click on. You can find here server manager. Both these options will take you to server manager. Here you can see the difference now. 2008 R2, you can install roles separately and features separately. But here 2012, we are giving you two options, roles and features. In one window, you can install both these options. 2012, everything is totally changed. As we discussed in the last, earlier videos, like installing Windows Server 2012. So that time I was telling you, showing you all the navigation part got changed. Right? Here also you can see now. Add roles and features separately is there. Add other servers to manage, create server groups. So this add other servers will discuss in ADS class. Once the ADS class got started, then we'll discuss more about this add other server manager and creating server groups. As of now, We'll go to manage, then we'll select first option, add rules and features. Second option for remove rules and features. First, let me add the rules and features. Click on add rules and features. Here you can see this wizard helps you to install rules, role services or features. You determine which rules, role services or features to be installed. For doing this, you should be a member of administrator. You should have administrator permissions. Otherwise, you cannot install it. Is all right. Let's click on next option. The next one is role-based or remote desktop (RDSI). It is also called as virtual desktop infrastructure. So where you want to install this role now? Where you want to install a role? On virtual machines or on the physical machine? That is single server. So now what I will do? We'll select the first option because we are not going to install on VDI format, not in virtual machines format. So we'll select to set the first option, role-based features is the default options already selected. Click on next. So it's asking you, select a server from the server pool. If you have multiple servers, so where you want to keep this information now? Storage for virtual. If you have a virtual disk, set virtual hard disk. So the rules which you're going to install that will store on this particular server or to store on particular virtual hard disk. If I select this one, select a virtual hard disk. So you should have a proper virtual hard disk installed or created. So that server, that virtual disk, you can add it here. As of now, we don't have that option. So let me choose the first option. Select a server from the server pool itself. In this pool, we have only one server installed. So for example, if you have multiple servers installed, it will list all the servers here. You can pick any one server where you want to install the DNS server. Alright, let me go with the first option. Here are the roles. There are a lot of roles are there. It is not only for MCSA part. It will take you MCSC, it will take you Exchange Server, HSCM, web servers, application server, file servers. So now we require here DNS server, domain name system. Let me select this option. You can select multiple roles you can install same time. Only thing is your system should have a good configuration in order to install all the rules quickly, or else it will take too much time. You have to wait for 2 hours, 1 hour, depends upon your configuration. If it is RAM 1 GB or selected 5 roles, it will take more time. If you have 4 GB RAM, install only one role, it will take less time. That is simple. So I'm going with only one role here, DNS. Next. So I don't require any features here now. So leave this empty. Leave it default settings. Click on next. And if you want, you can read about this information about DNS. The next. And here is an option to install the role service or features. Click install. Here we got a radio button. You can select this one here. Restart the destination server automatically if I select this option. If it is required to restart the system after installing DNS server, then it will automatically restart. But anyway, for DNS installation, it will not ask for restart. So I'm just removing this, just deselecting this option. Click on install. It will just take 2 minutes time or less than 2 minutes time to install. Once it's get installed, I'll show you how to configure the forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone. Let me pause the video. All right, I think the installation is done. It says installation succeed. So we'll close this window. Next is configuration of DNS. We're done with step 1, configure IP address. Step 2, installation DNS is done. Step 3 is configuration of forward lookup zone. So now you have to open the DNS. For that, you can go to tools. You can find DNS here. You can also see DNS from start menu option. Expand this here. You can see here DNS. So both the window will take you to the DNS tab only. So let me go to tools, which is the easy one to access, because in tools we can see everything: DNS, DSCP, ADS, web server, whatever roles and features installed, you can find it from tools itself. DNS. Here we go. The name is little lengthy or complicated name is there that we can change it. So we got forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone. Right click on forward lookup zone, new zone, select new zone option. Welcome to the new zone wizard. Click next. Here we got the options now. Remember, there are two types of zone, forward and reverse. Inside that we got zone subdivisions. There are 4 subdivisions, right? First one is primary zone, secondary zone, stub zone. The last one is Active Directory integrated zone, which is available only in domain controller. First one is primary zone, creates a copy of a zone that can be updated directly on the server. Secondary zone creates a copy of zone that exists on another server. This option helps for load balancing purpose and also provides fault tolerance. Third one is stub zone. Stub zone creates a copy of a zone containing only name server information, start of authority information, and also a possibly of a glue host a record. Remember the last point, which is important: the server containing a stub zone is not authoritative for that zone. It is not an authorized DNS zone. So now we'll stick with primary zone, because unless you have primary, you cannot go for secondary. First thing, install and configure primary DNS. Then we'll go to secondary. The zone name. So anything it should be .com, .net, .org. Let me give just giving tech.com. You can give tech.net, .org, .in. So automatically creating a DNS file for this. If already file is there, then you can go for existing file. As of now, nothing is there. So let me create a new file. tech.com.dns. Next. Then here we can see the options. Allow both non-secure and secure dynamic updates. The last option is do not allow dynamic updates. Dynamic updates which will help you to get the updates from the clients. You can see here dynamic updates of resource records are accepted from any client. If I say do not allow dynamic updates, means client information will never reach to server of DNS. They'll keep on sending the request to server, but client is already mentioned like do not allow. I am not going to allow you guys. If I say allow both non-secure and secure, then only client request will reach to DNS server. All the information is stored in DNS server. The first option is grayed out. Why? Because it is not an aid domain controller. The moment you install domain controller, this option is available for you to convert from primary zone to Active Directory integrated zone, where it supports secure updates. Here you can see non-secure and secure both. But when you convert from primary zone to Active Directory integrated zone, there you can see only a secure updates. That is the added advantage for domain controller. Now let's move to the next option. So we're done with configuration of completed the new wizard. What we configured, the domain name is configured tech.com. It is a type of standard primary. Lookup type is forward lookup zone, and file name is tech.com DNS. Finish. It is done. Right. The next one is reverse lookup zone. Nothing is there. We are going to create an IP address, convert IP address to host name now. New zone. Next. Again same primary, no secondary. Secondary for another server. Select here IPv4 v6, which IP address you are using for your system. So as of now, we are planning to use, or we decided to go with IPv4. So we'll go with IPv4. And you have to mention only network ID. Class A network ID is 10.0.0. Class B is 172.16.0.0. Class C network ID is 192.168.0.0. So in this case now, which class IP I'm using? It is class C. The IP which I'm using, it is class C, 192.168.100.1. So networks here, 3 networks, 1 host. Class B is 2 networks, 1 host. Class A is 1 network, 3 host. So in this case, class C having 3 networks and 1 host. So network ID is 192.168.100. Only network ID, not the IP address. Then click on next. So it's also creating a IP file for IP address, DNS file for the IP address. Then next. Here also same thing. Let me go with allow both non-secure and secure dynamic updates. Done. Finish. Right. So we completed 4 steps now. Right. First one is configuration of IP address. Done. Installation DNS. Done. Configuring forward lookup zone and configure reverse lookup zone also done. The 5th step is configure domain name in computer settings. Then restart. Unless you configure domain name and restart, the records will never get updated. You can see I'm not able to see the IP address and computer name here. Reverse also. Because the 5th step is still left. We need to complete that step. For that, right click computer, or I can go here on this folder icon. I can see here this PC, right click, properties, click on change settings. So to rename this computer, click on change. The name which is looking very complicated name, so I will make it very simple. So I'll say PR, or I'll make it like primary 1. Go to more. Here I type the domain name, DNS suffix name, the domain name which you configure. The domain name is tech.com. The name which you configure in forward lookup zone. Whatever name you configure, tech.com is tech.com, ron.org means ron.org. Whatever the name you configure, that you have to mention over here. Then you have to select the workgroup, not domain. Domain will comes only in ADS. Now you can say primary full computer name is primary 1, which is computer name. Tech.com is a domain name. This is called fully qualified domain name. Workgroup name, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to keep the same name as it is. Then click OK. So it will restart, close, and restart now. So it will just take a minute time to restart the system. All right, the systems is booted now. Let me log in. So as I said, the name, computer names, and IP address will be stored in DNS record, DNS server now. And also I'll show you how to troubleshoot the DNS server. If you're not finding a records in DNS, the command which you remember, which I said you earlier, ipconfig plus DNS for clearing the cache memory. That also I'll show you that one how to do that. Tools, DNS. So the name got changed. You can see a primary one. Earlier it was a complicated name. So we configure tech.com. Yes, here you can see the record. Host A record is there. Startup authority is there. Name server is there. And the host converting host name to IP address. Reverse lookup zone. Yes, not available. You should convert IP to host name. What to do now? If you are not getting the records in reverse lookup zone, then you have to troubleshoot. You have to use the command prompt. First one is ipconfig / flush DNS. Successfully flush the DNS resolver cache. Do it again 2-3 times so it will completely clean everything. Another one is registering. First you have to clear everything, next you have to fix it. That is registration. Register DNS. This also you can use twice or thrice for immediate update, or else you can see the updates and errors in event viewer in 15 minutes. Alright, now we can use the command for testing the name server. The name server command is ns lookup. Ns is name server. We're going to look for name server. Here we go. Default server is, it is primary 1.tech.com working with this IP address 192.168.100.1. It is successfully configured. Now check your records. Just refresh. Yes. PTR is coming. Name server is here. Startup authority is here. When you right click on tech.com, you can see host a record, new alias, mail exchange. So just go to properties. In general information, status is running. Anytime if you feel like system is performing slow, just pause it. Or you can change from primary to secondary. If you have multiple servers, remember You should not play with only one server. You should have multiple servers. Then only you can use these options. You can change primary to secondary. You can change stub zone, but not AD because AD is not installed. So these things you can change based on the situation. If the server is not performing well, you can change the servers. Then you can see start of authority. So start of authority is primary server is primary1.tech.com. Refresh interval is about updates. Every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes you get the interval time. TTL time to leave. Every 1 hour you get the updates. Refreshing time is 15 minutes. Retry time is 10 minutes. This is automatic. Again, this is a company policy. I want you can make it even 15 hours. The delay time you can change it. So this is about the updates from client to server. This is startup authority. So interval time is 15 minutes. Name server. Who is the name server? Name server is primary1 tech.com working with IP address 192.168.100.1 and zone transfer. So we'll be seeing in the next video like how to transfer zones from primary to secondary. First I will show you how to install and configure secondary DNS server. Then you'll be seeing how to transfer the zones from primary to secondary. Alright, so let me change some IP configuration here so that you can get a clear picture about NS lookup. Let me change the IP address of preferred DNS. I'm pointing to 10 now. That means preferred DNS server is working with 100.10 IP address. Let's see now what response we'll get. You will get unknown. See? The address which you're pointing 192.168.100.10 that is not working here. There is no such server is configured with this IP address. If I change the IP address 10 here, that means I'm mentioning here my system IP is 10 and also primary DNS also 10. Now we can see. So why it's not working? Because it is still the old IP address is stored in the cache. You getting it? Even I change the IP address, it's not immediately got update. That's why you have to clear the cache. Then register. So I'm removing the old IP address from cache memory and I want to configure the new IP address now. I want to register the new IP address with this domain name. Now use NS lookup. You got the information now. This is what the troubleshooting commands you have to use. When you stuck up with this name server information not able to identify, that time you have to use. And also while first before the installation part I stopped you and I said like I'll show you later about the advanced tab. Let me show you quickly. Advanced, go to DNS. This is again DNS registration through command prompt you are doing. You have to do it for manually also. The suffix name what we configure tech.com. Now this will be clear for you. Earlier I was trying to show you before installing DNS itself. Now the tech.com you already configured. So here what I am doing, I am using this for registration. The suffix name which we already configured. Then click OK. This is optional, it's not mandatory. So our DNS server is performing well. You can see a forward lookup zone. Click on that, you can see standard primary. Everything is fine. You can also clear the cache. Right click on server. You can see here clear cache. This is GUI graphically. But command prompt will have a quick response. I hope this is clear for you about DNS practical session installing and configuration of primary DNS. The next video, I'll be showing you how to install secondary DNS server and how to transfer the zones from primary to secondary, how to change primary to secondary zone, secondary to primary if the server is down. Alright, in this video, that's all in this video, and thanks for watching this.